Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I got a couple messages from a few of my subscribers who were unsure why I've been complaining about the possibility of negotiating a meal plan at the community college where I teach. And I thought I would elaborate a little bit because I obviously can't afford to eat at the dining halls every day. But the few times that I have done it, I've had a lot of success. And unfortunately, or I get depending on your view, fortunately or unfortunately, it's a numbers game. The more I do it, the better the odds that I might meet an important figure in my life of some sort, somebody to collaborate with on my next big project, a life partner. I was teaching at a different school at that point. It was actually the university, Grand Canyon University, when I was eating at the dining hall, and I struck a conversation with a girl there. Unfortunately, I missed the opportunity. I had already missed the opportunity one time, and then I saw her a second time, and I still missed the opportunity. But you know what? That was not a complete loss. That segues to the time that I actually did hit the opportunity. I was at the dining halls at Glendale when one of my former students, actually, I knew her from Phoenix College, she had transferred there, had some kind of a move for whatever reason. And was eating at the dining hall and we struck up a conversation. She was drinking this pink coffee drink, and I commented to her that it looked like she was drinking pure Pepto Bismol, and it wasn't, but it looked like that. And we struck up a conversation. She had just uh, gone through a terrible breakup, and not only that, but she had lost a close friend as well. She had argued with the friend, and her friend had thrown something and damaged their front door, and the police were involved and all that. And it I felt sorry for her, but it gave me a nice warm fuzzy feeling that she would share all of that with me. One night at 3, 4 in the morning, she texted me saying that she was going through a lot of pain. It was female related. I hate to use the word here, but I pretended to not know what she was talking about. I hope you're feeling better, without going into detail on the specific kind of pain that she was referring to. But it gave me a nice warm fuzzy feeling that she trusted me so much to talk about that. I had another experience. Well, aside from that, I often have good experiences of even just interacting with the cashier at the dining halls. I have to bring up my food allergies, obviously, and one time I practiced a little bit my negotiation skills. You see, a lot of times my food, I have eczema, and I have to watch what I eat, and also avoiding sugars and additives really helps control my autism. And to the credit of all the dining halls that I've been at, they take that very seriously. But oftentimes, I order some kind of salad, and the portions are just crazy tiny because I'm not ordering all these other things. And I find it doesn't really matter all that much because usually when I eat at the dining hall, I'm gonna need some other food anyway. But I decided to try and negotiate, saying, "Hey, can I have more of this because I can't have that?" And to my surprise, it did not go too badly. Now, it's not the end of the world, like I said, that's only a very small part of my food, but it helps me understand that I can ask for things, right? The food at the dining hall might not be that big of a deal, but what might be a big deal is negotiating a day off that I want, right? So, for example, you guys saw earlier this year, I met a girl on a dating app from Houston. I live in Phoenix, about a 2-hour flight away. I was able to ask for time off to go see her. Not that it turned of anything, but it gave me practice with asking time off. It gave me practice with interacting with the girl while I was there. And I don't count that as a loss. I wish I could be doing it more, obviously, but I don't count what I have as a loss. But it's a numbers game. If out of just probably less than 20 times I've eaten there, I've already had 2 interactions like this. Can you imagine how it would turn if I did that every day? I just wish I had the money to do that. When I did the calculation, it just doesn't math out. Let's just put it. I hate to use actual numbers here because I don't want to give up how much I'm making. Let's just say it doesn't math out, but I wish it did. I wish it did. And one day I was out on my hike, and I had my Geiger counter, and I looked toward. I gotta look downward. I'm in Phoenix. Mary Curry is buried east of me, but a little bit north. So I looked downward toward the center of the earth, northeast, and I told her, "Please, just let me find some valuable rock." And I took my Geiger counter, and I sweeped around. I didn't find anything. I should have brought a metal detector, but I used the Geiger counter because I want to find stuff that means something to Mary Curry. It didn't find anything. And then I went to the bank and I got a few $100s worth of pennies. And I pleaded with God. I told God I'd love to meet the right life partner. It's time for that. Just give me a coin worth like $10,000, and I'll eat out at the dining hall every day until that money's gone, and I'll probably have enough connections by then. Got the pennies, opened them up. I didn't find any rare coins, but I did melt a bunch of the pennies to make art, and some of that art did kind of cheer me up. So maybe that was God's plan. I need to find out how to melt copper pennies as well, not just the zinc ones. I have some ideas when I get home. I can only imagine how that art will turn out. I'm actually thinking of making yellow brass, which is 60% copper, 40% zinc. But I gotta go get the pennies quick because they might be discontinued soon. But I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and I looked downward to. Let's see. I don't know what my direct. Here I would have to look west and north as well, but I have no idea where the cardinal directions are now that the sun is down. But I didn't bring my Geiger counter either. But like I said, out of 20 times, I've made 2 connect. One I could have made, but I didn't, and one I actually did. And she invited me to her high school graduation. It was all good. And for in general, it doesn't even have to be the dining halls. It might as well be the local Five Guys restaurant. Five Guys is one of the few fast food restaurants that I can eat at because their fries they make out of peanut oil. Something really interesting happened at Five Guys. Like many fast food restaurants, they suffer from shrinkflation, right? The portion sizes are getting. It doesn't really bother me because I go there to try to make friends. But I was thinking about something. See, I don't know how many of you guys have ever eaten out at Five Guys. If you go and order a large fry, they get a bag and they fill a cup about that big. It's about a 32-ounce cup that if it were filled with soft drink, it would be 32 ounce. But a cup like that, fill it with fries, and they put that in the bag, and then they scoop a metal tin about that big. Fries into the bag, but oftentimes when they're making the scoop, they're in such a hurry they miss the bag. Like half of the fries fall on the floor, and it's just a waste. I was thinking about this one time just before I walked into the Five Guys, and I thought, what if I told them, I do this during a not too busy time. You don't want to do it during a busy hour; you're going to annoy them. But when it's not too busy, when literally it's you and the employees in the store, go in there and say, so go at like a 2, 3, 4 p.m. like just between lunch and dinner, and go, sorry to bother you. I'm a little bit religious, spiritual. It really hurts my heart when I see food waste. So would you be mindful when you're scooping the fries? Say it in a polite way. Usually they'll agree, but there's a caveat. I'll let you pause the video to think if it helped. Well, Gotta give them credit. They didn't waste a whole lot, but they also didn't scoop a whole lot. In other words, you can only order the fries for the floor. You can't get it to land in your bag. Well, I only tried it one time. I gotta do it another time at some point. I got a lot of opportunity to, because I usually do an intermittent fast, and I usually end the fast at like 2, 3, 4 p.m. anyway. So when I get home, I'll have a lot of opportunity to try that catchphrase to see how it goes, and maybe I don't know. I don't know if I want to record them when I'm doing this, so and put it on YouTube. It'd be a funny piece, right? I don't know. I hate to do that because these guys are really nice, and I don't know if it's particular to Five Guys. I don't think the fry cook is going to get any training. Like, hey, you might get somebody who's religious and prefers not to be wasteful. I'd be hard pressed to imagine that would be part of the training, right? That is so off the beaten track that. But it was kind of funny to see. It could also be that they're just really respectful and they want to take extra precaution to make sure I'm satisfied, right? So it might not even be a bad thing. It's just that, gee, if they're gonna scoop all those fries to lay out of the floor, how can I have them, right? It was more like that, right? Anyway, I'd still prefer not to waste, even if I can't get those fries, right? So whatever. But anyways, I'd rather be eating out at Five Guys more because every time I eat there's a potential, may not be a very high, but chance that I might meet an important life figure. And the more times I do it, right, a small probability, if you can multiply that by a big number, is still not bad, right? If you every so often you see on the television, the lottery goes to like $1 billion, and it might only be a 1 in 10 million chance of winning. Usually it has a positive expected value when it hits that. Imagine if you could just buy a ton of tickets when that happens, right? That's what it means for me to eat in the dining hall in a nutshell, right? Or at Five Guys, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Let's sing it again. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.